Now at 10, businesses in Thayer, Kansas worry that highway construction could turn into the road to a ghost town. Plus, the city of Joplin turns out tonight for an event to bring awareness to the dangers of overdose. And it's a big night for local sports as the Missouri Southern Lions and Pitt State Gorillas kick off football seasons at home. We'll have the highlights.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Businesses from Thayer, Kansas are struggling with the impacts of road work. Some report losing up to 75% of their income. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. KOAM's Fernandez Silva has the story.
Brian Schutz and Tracy Harbers share a similar concern. They're not seeing the businesses they manage getting as many people through the doors as they used to. The reason? Construction on US 169.
They can get here, but they go a long way around, all the way to get here. People down south and east of here has to literally go around through Parsons and up by Erie and then back around on 47 and then back down to Thayer.
At the beginning of August, the Kansas Department of Transportation closed US 169 to traffic from Thayer South to US 400 to add passing lanes and replace the mainline pavement. As most of Thayer's business clients come out of town, the managers are seeing a considerable decrease in their income.
There's times I go without a paycheck, so the other employees, we don't have to lay them off. That way they can provide.
I really need the steakhouse stay open for our town and for my employees. We're going to lose money. There's no doubt about it for the next 2 or 3 months.
Clients are not the only ones not showing up to the city. Suppliers are also not going.
We have not had any of that bread for 3 to 4 weeks.
According to the KDOT area engineer, the construction timeline is going as planned. With that, the highway should be reopened by the end of October.
The city clerk fears the impact of the road closure will last longer than the maintenance itself.
I think we're going to take a hit probably for a little while after, and then until everybody finally figures out we're back open, then I think we'll even back out.
Tracy Harbers shares the concern.
I don't want to be a ghost town. I want to keep Thayer the way it is and just keep continuing to grow.
Students are also being affected by the construction as many go to Cherryville for high school.
It typically would take our kids that go from Thayer to Cherryville 20 minutes, say, roughly to get to school. Now it takes like 45 to 50 minutes for them to be able to get to and from school.
While understanding the challenges that might lie ahead, this small town in Kansas is hopeful.
Once the road gets back open, it'll just be that much better.
In Thayer, Fernandez Silva, KOAM News.
This is Thayer's homecoming weekend. The city hopes the construction doesn't affect attendance in their biggest celebration of the year. It's a nice night out there weather-wise. Let's check in with Doug Henny.
Well, it actually turned out to be a pretty good Thursday for us today. Quite a bit of sunshine, temperatures great, like we have seen really all week long. Temperatures very consistent. Most of us have been sitting upper 80s to near 90 degrees. 88 today, normal highs 87, the record 105 set back in 2000. And temperatures right now, we're still kind of holding mid to upper 70s across the region. We're going to drop back fairly nicely as we go through the overnight hours. Clear skies. Not much going on across the entire Central Plain. So as we go through the rest of the overnight, by midnight, most of us will be into the upper 60s. And then once we get to the morning hours, we'll start with sunshine, but temperature is very comfortable, upper 50s to lower 60s, and then a quick warm up once again as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow. We are going to start to heat up as we go into the holiday weekend. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
Doug, we'll see you soon. Fire swept through a home in Neosho, Missouri this afternoon. The call came in at around 1:30 from the 1800 block of Rachel Drive. Flames had already breached the roof by the time responders arrived. Authorities say everyone was safely out of the house and no firefighters were injured. Obviously, that home was a total loss. We have no word yet on the possible cause of this fire that destroyed a vacant mobile home just northwest of Joplin this morning. Fire crews were called to the 3300 block of North Explorer Lane a little before 2:30 a.m. When they arrived, the mobile home was engulfed in flames. Just hours before the fire, deputies had responded to a report of suspicious activity in that area. Neighbors say the mobile home was being remodeled and no one lived there. No one was hurt in the fire. Pittsburgh police are seeking a person of interest in a homicide which occurred earlier this month. On August 20th, law officers were dispatched to 202 North Locust Street in Pittsburgh in reference to a shooting outside of a bar. According to the report, Justin Krogan of Pittsburgh was found shot and later died of his injuries. Authorities have not publicly named the person of interest. The trial is going to go forward for a Missouri man accused of shooting a Kansas City teenager on his front step. That's what the judge decided today after hearing testimony and viewing evidence in the case during a hearing. Andrew Lester has pleaded not guilty to 2 felony assault charges. Lester is accused of shooting 16-year-old Ralph Yarl in April when the teen knocked on the wrong door while trying to pick up his brothers. Yarl was shot twice in the head and arm, but he survived.
12 witnesses testified during today's preliminary hearing. In addition to their testimony, multiple exhibits were admitted into evidence. These included recordings of 911 phone calls made by neighbors, photos of the scene, and a recording of the defendant's call to 911. After reviewing all the evidence presented in court, the judge found the state had met its burden and set the case to circuit court where a trial can happen.
Lester will be back in court September 20th for an arraignment. Joplin has chosen its next police chief. The city today announced Rich Pearson will take that position. Pearson is currently captain of the Jefferson County Public School System Police Department in Louisville, Kentucky. He served 22 years in the Louisville Metro Police Department and taught in the Criminal Justice Department of Ivy Tech Community College. That's in Sellersburg, Indiana. Pearson's first day on the job will be December 18th. The Jasper County Treatment Court today helped raise awareness of a rising number of overdoses. They hosted a walk from the court's building to the Recovery Outreach Community Center.
There's so many overdoses that are happening today, and people don't realize what's in their drugs, what's being mixed in their drugs, and it's happening young kids all the way up to older, adults. And it's just something that the community needs to be aware of, and the importance of Narcan, of how it could save a life.
After the walk, the court hosted a training on how to use Narcan. Coming up, PSU cuts the ribbon on the training ground for future healthcare workers. Plus,
Franklin Technology Center students are getting their hands dirty by restoring this historic building in downtown Joplin. I'm Anthony Saviello with the story.
The massive Lost Lease Furniture and Mattress.
Freeman today hosted a disaster seminar. The healthcare group recently hosted a similar session covering how to respond to a disaster, but today's session focused on how to prepare for one.
So we're having to re-educate people to understand what could happen. And as we talked about Joplin, it's not just locally here, the tornado. They have used the lessons learned from Joplin all across the country and the world.
Today's event happened at the Freeman Business Center. Hooray! Pittsburgh State University aims to attract more future healthcare workers by opening a hospital simulation. The $8 million facility was funded by private donors. Students will be able to perform various procedures on artificial patients. The 10,000 square feet simulation hospital includes preparation rooms, waiting rooms, and more environments to immerse students and prepare them for the real deal.
Last year, whenever there was kind of going on at the beginning, so it was really interesting to see it all happen last year and hear about it, and we were all super excited to be in one building instead of being in 5 different buildings and trying to figure out where to go every day.
Originally, the nursing school held about 65 students. Now it can accommodate 120. The K-State program encourages students across the Sunflower State to leap into STEM studies. Project LEAPS, an acronym for Learning, Exploration, and Application for Prospective Engineering Students, is a collaborative project. It's made possible by a U.S. Department of Defense grant for nearly $2.7 million. It'll benefit about 500 middle and high school students and 53 educators by the end of 2023. The project aims to help mentor and promote STEM degrees and careers to 7th through 12th grade students throughout the state. This is the second year of that grant. High school students who are part of the Franklin Technology Center program are bringing a downtown Joplin building back to life. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has that story.
216 Commercial Alley, otherwise known as the Bullseye Building in downtown Joplin, has seen better days.
It's a strange feeling to just be working in this.
It's also real dark, so we got to keep turning on our flashlights to see the measurements and stuff.
I got my phone flashlight
Makes it just a
on.
little bit difficult to do work.
It's like awkward and, as he said, a little bit creepy.
Luckily, a few students in the area are getting to work to put this building back on target.
We get our students actual hands-on, real-world, work-based experience. They're going to be doing the heavy lifting. They will draw the plans that get submitted to the city. They will interact with the client and the contractor. They will be the ones answering questions. We really want them to find out what a day in the life of an architect is actually like.
Casey Tullis is an instructor at Franklin Technology Center. He's also the instructor leading these students on this endeavor.
A quarter of them, it's okay to say if they're all the same. It's okay to say this is the typical spacing.
He has high praise and expectations for them. After all, they have quite the project on their hands.
They will do inspections just like an architect would to come in and make sure that the plans are being followed. And if they're not being followed, they'll have to file the paperwork to keep track of all of that.
The owner of the building, Terry Donaldson, shares Casey's excitement for these students as they embark on this project, hoping that this building is able to once again show some life and hopefully not just be used for target practice. So there's no doubt these kids are going to have their hands full this year. But once this building is done, it's sure to be the talk of the town. Reporting in Joplin, I'm Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Looks like they're going to have their hands full. That renovation is going to continue throughout the school year. Doug Heddy's up next with weather, and a little bit later we're going to have highlights from the Lions and Gorillas home openers. That'll be coming up in sports.
Kramer's Meats in Joplin, serving great meals to the four-state floors. Visit LL Flooring today.
Definitely turned out to be a nice day once again for us today. Temperatures are fantastic, but it is Thursday. Every Thursday, our new drought tracker comes out, kind of updates how much moisture is in the soil. Of course, we got quite a bit of rain at the beginning of the month, but over the past couple weeks, it's been fairly dry. Now, along and south of I-44, not doing too bad, just kind of dry. But as you get a little farther north, we jump into a moderate drought once you get into Pittsburgh, Nevada, an extreme drought, Independence, an extreme drought. So we are still seeing a lot of areas that really need the rain. Unfortunately, we just don't have much rain in the forecast. But for the month, of course, we start September tomorrow, just shy of 4 inches. But again, this was all in the first half of the month, so we're still almost 10 inches behind where we should be for this time of the year. All right, temperature is pretty good. Most of us are sitting mid to upper 70s across the board. Our humidity is great. Remember last week, dew points into the lower 80s. Not this week. Most of us are sitting 55 to 57, which if you look at our dew point tracker, that puts us in that kind of pleasant to not bad range. So at least the humidity is staying low as we go through the next couple days. 72 right now. Easterly winds are light at about 5 miles per hour. We do have pretty much clear skies across the region. Most of the Central Plains looking pretty good. Clear skies. We're going to start the day on Friday with sunny skies. We do have a weak little upper level wave just south of New Orleans, which will play a little bit of havoc with us once we get into the holiday weekend. Besides that, you can see most of the lower 48 is pretty much dry. The remnants of our hurricane rushing out to sea, so we don't have to worry about that whatsoever after the southeast picked up quite a bit of rain over the past 48 hours. All right, let's go through time. I'm going to stop this for you at 7 a.m. Temperature sitting into the upper 50s. You can actually open up the windows for you tonight. We'll jump into lower 80s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, I think very similar to what we saw today. 88, 89 degrees, lower 90s once you get into our western counties. Tomorrow night, very comfortable again. We drop back upper 50s to near 60. And then heading into your holiday weekend, Saturday looks good. A little bit warmer as we warm into lower 90s for afternoon highs on Saturday. Here's your day planner for you tomorrow. 61 to start, 81 by noon, 86 by 4. I think a high temperature similar to what we saw today, right around 89 degrees. All right, let's jump into the weekend. So we're going to go into Saturday. You can see that upper level low across parts of Louisiana. Tries to inch a little bit closer to us on Sunday into Monday. So this may wrap a few showers into the region as we get into Sunday and Monday, but I actually think our better chances for rain, they're actually going to hold off until next Tuesday as a cold front tries to push through. 89 tomorrow, lower 90s over the holiday weekend, hit-miss storms. Better chances for storms working in on Tuesday, and then temperatures hold into the middle 90s most of next week.
All right, Doug, thanks. Hey, it's time again for the Great American Flag Swap. If you have an old or worn out American flag, just come on down and turn it in for a brand new one. We'll see to it that it is disposed of properly, the old one that is. We've been doing this for some time now. The next one is going to be at the Westco in Miami, Oklahoma, on 208 North Main Street. That's going to be tomorrow afternoon from noon until 1:30 or until we run out of flags. Don't wait, don't show up late because we have been running out of flags. These have been so popular and supplies are limited. Still ahead, highlights from Pitt State football season's opening game against Washburn, and Missouri Southern hopes for an upset against a top 5 team. John Dales has more on both of those games coming up.
Nominate chicken dip bites.
College football season is officially here. In the 4 states, that means there's one place to be. That's Carney Smith Stadium on the campus of Pittsburgh State. The 4th-ranked Gorillas opening the year at home Thursday night against Washburn. Both offenses rusty. 0-0 score into the second when Chad Dodson finds All-American tight end Devin Garrison. Only needed 1 on 4th down. They pick up 28. The offense stalls outside of the end zone. That sets things up for Austin Schmidt, his 23-yard field goal, the first points of the year. Later on, more defense. Jack Barkley forces Washburn out of field goal range. Then Pitt State threatening to take a 2-score lead into half, but Dodson, the one who's sacked by Phoenix Smith. Gorillas take a 6-0 lead, come out in the 3rd quarter, and the defense comes to play. That's an interception by Antoine Nunn Jr. That set things up for the PSU offense at the 27 of Washburn. 4 plays later, Dodson calls his own number. Quarterback sneak. After unpiling everyone, the refs say, yes, he's in. First touchdown of the year for the Gorillas. Each offense wakes up a little in the second half. Pitt State ends up winning 34-7. Missouri Southern also at home tonight, hoping for a big-time upset. They're facing the number 5 team in the country, Northwest Missouri State. Now Southern walking in front of the home crowd with an opportunity again to start the year with an upset. First drive of the season, and Luke Sampson, second-year quarterback, finds David Bethune down the middle, and he doesn't stop running until he hits pay dirt. 64-yard touchdown. Big-time play, and the Lions open their season with a bang. Second quarter, 7-0 still, then Sampson scrambles around. This time he finds Deontay Campbell in the end zone for a touchdown. It's 14-0. People starting to raise their eyebrows at this score across the country. Later in the second, Lions up 14-7. Catch of the night, Ezekiel Lang with a fantastic grab. That led to a 46-yard field goal. The Lions go up 17-7. But Northwest Missouri, with its back against the wall, dips into the bag of tricks. Onside kick after they had just scored, and the kicker recovers it. That leads to a Bearcat touchdown. Jay Harris goes in to score, and Missouri Southern held its own for a while, but gets outscored 7-0 in the 4th. They lose 31-24. They're 0-1 on the young season. High school football also going on tonight. A couple of Missouri teams in action. One of those, Joplin, coming off a big Week 1 win on the road at Branson. The Eagles improved to 2-0 on the young season with a 28-14 home victory. Not quite as close as the final score might even tell you. Tigers were down by 3 touchdowns until the final play. So they score kind of a garbage time touchdown. Torrin Jones scores 3 touchdowns in the win for Joplin. Chavis Coleman comes up with a big second half interception as well. Another high school football game happening tonight, and Mount Vernon all over Monette. The Mountaineers moved to 2-0 after a 10-point win on the road at McDonald County last week. Cubs are 0-2. Mount Vernon stays at home next week, hosting Aurora on Friday night. And for my first experience at a Pitt State home football game, it's pretty special. You know, I saw the Gorilla Walk beforehand. Thursday night, I'm sure there'll be more fans on Saturdays, but pretty cool place to take in a game, definitely.
Yeah, we're going to be showing a little bit about the pregame festivities here in just a moment, but what a great night, really, for Missouri Southern as well. They played a very good team, very close, right up to the end. They might have a good program.
Yeah, I think that program's really on the rise, and they're going to surprise some people this year.
I hope so.
Well, of course, Friday looks like another pretty nice day. High temps are going to make it up into the upper 80s for highs. We do go into lower 90s as we go into the holiday weekend. Now, we are going to have chances for scattered thunderstorms late Sunday into Monday, but our better chances for rain with showers and thunderstorms, which we need, will hold off until about next Tuesday.
Doug, thanks. Boy, the weather was perfect for the little celebration before the Pitt State game against Washburn tonight for their first football game of the season. As always, Gorilla fans got together for a tailgate party. John alluded to this a bit earlier. Gorilla Fest featured bounce houses and balloons and face and hair painting and live music and food. It's a tradition that is really very popular with a lot of families and fans all across the 4 states. It's a great time. If you've never been to one of these Gorilla Fest celebrations, beautiful setting, you got to check it out.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, like we were mentioning, both of the football teams in our area, Pitt State starts out slow, ends up getting a big win. Missouri Southern, kind of the opposite, starts out real hot and then end up having a really talented team come back and get them in the 4th quarter.
Could be an exciting year for both teams.
I think it will be.
Don't forget the morning show, 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.